is the North End. This is the North End.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the North End. My name's Aizaz. I've missed you. It's been a minute since I've made one of these videos. Work and life has gotten in the way. I've just started a new job. Well, not just, but recently started a new job. And I've been navigating my way through that. But obviously, now looking to get back on this football content creating wagon. I don't want to call it bandwagon because this is my first love and my life's passion, the beautiful game. So just want to get back onto that. And the other thing I want to say is, of course, as always, please like and subscribe if you like this video. Now, I'm going to jump right into our review for Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest at Anfield this weekend. And usually I do the good, bad, and ugly, but I'm going to have to switch up back to 5 things we learned because I literally don't have a bad and ugly for you. Now, if you watched my Liverpool content last year, you know I had a lot to say that was bad and ugly. But right now, life is good. Life is rosy. So it's probably better to talk about the 5 things we learned versus the things we have to force into bad and ugly, because quite frankly, there wasn't any. So I'm going to start with number 1. So number 1 is watching Liverpool is a lot of fun. Now, I should say again, because clearly over the last 5-6 years, there's been a lot of times where watching Liverpool is a lot of fun. But this is a little bit different. I'm not going to lie. Now, you know, Klopp 1.0 had some amazing moments, of course. And I still think that the team from 2018 to 2020 is clearly better than this one. They won the league. They were the champions of Europe. But fun to watch. I actually think that this might be already getting to a point where it's starting to eclipse that team. Controversial take, maybe leave your comments below. But I actually think one of the big criticisms of that team was the midfield and namely the creativity in the midfield. And I talked about this at length last year, probably to some people who were getting bored about the fact that I was talking about some of the players who I don't particularly want to name right now, because obviously they are legends at Liverpool and they put their time in and they got a lot of trophies for us. But the threesome of Alexis McAllister, who I'll come on to in a minute, Dominic Szoboszlai, who I'll also talk about in a minute, and Ryan Gravenberch is something quite special. And then when they start to bring on Harvey Elliott into the mix as well, and we know now Curtis Jones will be coming back, that is a completely different stratosphere of a midfield from what we were used to in terms of creativity. So my point number 1 is watching Liverpool is a lot of fun. 10 games on the board now. We've probably got enough evidence in the bank to say this is a statement that I can make. It's not a flash in the pan at this point. And yeah, I kind of feel like looking forward to the next game and the next game. It feels really good. It feels very 2017 and 2017, 2018, the end of that season, and then the 2 years that followed after. It feels very much like that. Now, clearly, there could be some games that come along and completely derail us and shift our momentum. We've had a couple of those already this season. For now, I have to say, watching Liverpool is a lot of fun, and long may it continue. Brings me to point number 2. So number 2 is Alexis McAllister is growing into this number 6 role. Now, before anyone loses their shit, I don't want him playing there. He doesn't want to play there. The fans don't want him playing there. I don't even think Jurgen Klopp wants him playing there. But clearly, we weren't able to secure the right number 6. If you've watched Liverpool, if you've watched Jurgen Klopp over the years, he wants to go for the right person in the transfer window. That never happened. Obviously, we had a few failed bids from players who are failing elsewhere. So jokes on them, I guess. But we weren't able to secure the right number 6. So Klopp being Klopp is very much a coach first, and he's gone about looking at ways that he can create solutions within the squad. And obviously, first up was Alexis McAllister. Hasn't covered himself in glory in the number 6 role. He's learning it in real time. So how does the phrase go? He's building and flying the plane at the same time. But Saturday was a really good example of how, against one of the teams that's probably going to be in the bottom half, most likely going to be in the bottom half, this system can really work with Alexis at number 6. We're linked strongly with Andre in January. Obviously, we got Endo as well, who's more of a squad player. But I actually think for the home games against teams that are probably going to finish between position 12 and position 20, I want to see an offensive number 6. He can do some of the defensive stuff, but at the same time, his natural instincts are to get on the ball and dictate stuff. So really cool to see Alexis coming of age in that role. Number 3, so Dominic Szoboszlai may be the signing of the season. Am I going early on this? Maybe, we're just over a quarter of the season, but I find it really interesting how he hasn't yet been in certain conversations as one of the signing of the season. Really, that's not a conversation to be having right now, clearly, and yet I'm the one bringing it up. But the reason I bring it up in this is he was supreme on Saturday, and I haven't seen a midfielder dominate Anfield like that since Steven Gerrard in his heyday. Big praise. He wears the number 8 on the back, so he's bringing it. He's got the kind of energy we want to see in that position as well. Like last week he was asked, what can Liverpool win? What can Liverpool win? And he said everything. Clearly, we're not going to win everything. Clearly, let me put that out there. But he's saying that we can win everything. And that's the kind of character, personality that we wanted at the club, wearing that number 8 shirt. Sorry, no offense to Naby Keita, but he just wasn't up to the task of what that number represents to Liverpool. And Sobo very much is. The way he glides around the pitch, I remember there was some really famous Liverpool commentary about Liverpool and commentary about Steven Gerrard from the late 2000s, where the commentator said he glides around the park like a colossus. And that's literally what Dominic Szoboszlai does too. Add 2 more assists to his name, and he's really shaping into something truly, truly special. Clearly, there's a contender for overall signing of the year if we're talking about Europe, because there's a man in Spain who we were linked with, dominating every game he's in. Would I swap him for Sobo, Alexis, and Gravenberch and Endo? No, I wouldn't. And knowing what our sorry, I am a bit under the weather here. But yeah, I think one of the big things is we have to start to really focus on what we do have. And in Dominic Szoboszlai, we've got something truly special. Number 4, nothing that we discovered for the first time, but once again, some more confirmation that Mo Salah is the king. He's now 83 goals and assists in his last 72 games, and he's aged 32. So think about that for a minute. I'm here for the playmaker Salah. I'm talking about it because I've not really been on the podcast in the last couple of weeks or month or so. So I do want to come on here and just say the form that Mo Salah is showing at the start of this season is scintillating. He's second in the goal and assist charts. Second, because obviously Erling Haaland is a machine and he's on 11 goals already, something like that. And yet Mo Salah is second on that chart. And partly because he's reshaped himself as a bit of a playmaker. So as well as the goal and assists, he's also got a few pass before the assists going on as well. Long may it continue. He's having some bad games, just like he always has, just like every player has. And yet he's putting up the numbers even in those games. What his value is at this point, I don't really know. Probably worth talking about, because in the next one, I'm going to talk about Darwin. And obviously, value and price is something that has been really used against Darwin a little bit. But Mo Salah in this form is priceless. And now, right now, the 150 million that apparently came in as a bid for him, I'm glad we didn't get that. And number 5, Darwin Nunes is not just chaos. He's more than chaos. He's more than, some kind of joker in the pack. He's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal footballer. When I say that, he's not a 150 million pound striker. So he's not Kylian Mbappe. He's not Erling Haaland. Clearly, he's not Mo Salah. But in the next bracket, he's not Harry Kane. But in the next bracket, I'm not really sure that there's too much better than him out there at the moment, particularly at the age. Now, there was a lot made of his transfer fee last year. I don't need to run off names at the moment, but there's a lot of players that have in the last 12 months. So if we in and around Darwin moving up until this year, there's been a lot of players that have moved from the 60 to 80 million and even a little bit more than that price range. Darwin Nunes is the best striker in that group, not counting Harry Kane. Harry Kane is elite. He's better than Darwin Nunes. He's in that next bracket. He only went for 100 million because of his age. But otherwise, in that bracket of 21 to 24-year-old, maybe a bit younger, maybe a bit older, who have moved in the last couple of years in and around that price range, Darwin Nunes is the best player by far, by the way. He is obviously still not clinical, which would put him to that next level. But this game the other day, again, just showed how much of a handful he is. He scores goals. He's making assists. He's on 7 goals and assists as well. So I was talking about Mo being amazing before. Darwin's right behind him. And yet he's not even started all the games or most of the games, I don't think. He'd always be my first number 9. And that's it. That's the end of it so far. So hoping to be back next week after the Luton game. But for now, please follow, like, share. Very excited with what's happening with Liverpool. I think it's going to be a good ride. Obviously, a lot of football to play. So I'm going very, very early with my excitement. But at the same time, got to enjoy it while it's in front of you, because damn right we suffered last year. That's all for now. Peace.
This is the North End.